Welcome to today's Explainer, everyone. We're digging into a really fascinating and frankly kind of a dangerous collision today. We're looking at what happens when the absolute, unwavering certainty of artificial intelligence crashes headfirst into the incredibly complex, constantly shifting reality of CBD regulations.
Exactly. And I live in that botanical and retail reality of cannabinoids every single day. When you take the rigid world of algorithms and smash it into the really messy world of state hemp laws, you get this phenomenon known as drift. And let me tell you, it is completely reshaping industry liability as we know it.
Right, so here is our roadmap for how we're going to break this all down today. First, AI meets botanical reality. Second, the anatomy of AI drift. Third, the 4 legal exposures. Fourth, building verification first offenses. And finally, number 5, the deep dive consulting ladder. Let's get right into it.
All right, Section 1, AI meets botanical reality. To really grasp the root of this problem, we've got to ground ourselves in the sheer chaos of hemp laws right now.
We are dealing with an incredibly fragmented regulatory terrain. The federal definition of hemp has shifted around, and state-by-state variations, they are literally changing as we speak. Plus, there is pretty sparse, peer-reviewed consensus on health effects, and the rules you follow in one state could quite literally be a felony in another. So the conflict is stark. On one side, you have these actual fragmented state regulations, a total moving target, but on the other side, you get flattened, incorrect AI answers. Look, AI tools absolutely hate uncertainty, so what do? They take these fast-changing, nuanced laws and flatten them into a single, confident, and dangerously wrong output. It essentially takes legitimate legal uncertainty and just straight-up fabricates certainty.
Which brings us to Section 2, Anatomy of AI Drift. Let's look under the hood and forensically examine what happens inside the algorithm when it makes one of these confident guesses and gets it totally wrong.
We are not just talking about a one-off AI hallucination here, where the bot just says something silly and you move on. We're talking about drift. This is the gradual divergence from ground truth that compounds with each AI restatement. Think of it like this. An AI makes a tiny error about a CBD dosage limit. Then, in its very next sentence, it actually uses its own error as a foundational fact. It builds what we call a second-order fabrication. It's basically a snowball effect of algorithmic fiction, and the scary part is, it sounds incredibly professional.
And one of the absolute sneakiest ways AI does this is through mid-conversation relabeling. If you challenge the AI on its mistake, let's say you point out a contradiction it made about THC limits, instead of actually correcting the underlying data, the algorithm will confidently invent a completely new reality. It redefines its own mistake mid-session just to maintain the flow of the conversation. It's essentially gaslighting the user rather than admitting a foundational error.
Moving on to Section 3, the 4 legal exposures. Paul, this is where Bay Canine Consulting really steps in. When a brand trusts one of these hallucinating machines, what does that algorithmic drift actually mean for them in the real world? I'll tell you right now, the consequences aren't virtual. They are intensely legal. I am dropping the hammer on this because businesses are unknowingly taking on absolutely massive liability.
Relying on drifted AI output creates 4 distinct legal exposures for any manufacturer or retailer operating in this space. Number 1 is fabrication risk. This is when the AI literally invents facts, generates fake citations, or references non-existent regulatory authorities. Number 2 is relabeling risk, which we just saw, where an error is redefined instead of fixed. Number 3 is confidentiality risk. This happens when you process sensitive, proprietary business data under the wrong consumer-grade AI account tier. And finally, number 4, reliance risk.
Simply put, every single fabricated or drifted claim an AI tool generates is a live liability question. If a manufacturer, a retailer, or even an associate advising them treats AI output as authoritative without verifying it, they are absorbing massive reliance risks for the entire supply chain. You simply cannot look a judge or the FDA in the eye and say, well, the chatbot said it was compliant. The liability stops entirely with you.
Section 4, Building Verification First Defenses. Paul, the stakes are clearly massive here. So how do we actually build actionable solutions to defend against this invisible threat?
You have to build a verification-first workflow, and that starts with the Notebook Build checklist. Step 1, create a workspace tier account. You can never use a personal account before uploading client-linked or sensitive material, or you immediately trigger that confidentiality risk. Step 2. Build single-function notebooks. Do not just throw everything into one big catch-all AI brain. Step 3. Upload only primary sources. I'm talking actual statute text, agency guidance, and court filings. Absolutely no secondary summaries or AI-generated junk.
I've got to say, this multi-notebook structure is a data engineer's dream. By separating your regulatory tracker, your drift case file, and your terminology glossary, you are strictly separating functions. You ensure that the pristine primary text in the regulatory tracker doesn't get cross-contaminated with the errors you're actively logging in the drift case file. You are physically preventing the AI from training on its own hallucinations.
And the real key here is forensic logging. Inside that drift case file notebook, you must log every single fabrication you spot. The date you found it, the specific tool or model that generated it, the exact claim it made, and the actual correction source. This active logging is exactly what catches an AI before a fabricated legality or dosage claim ever has the chance to reach a CBD product label.
Exactly. But standing up a notebook isn't enough. You need the actual habits to maintain it. Source grounding has to be a strict discipline. You need to generate monthly audio overviews from your tracker and compare them month over month to catch any silent drift. You must tag your case file entries by those 4 risk categories. And you absolutely must cross-check any new content against your pristine regulatory tracker before you publish.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the Deep Dive Consulting Ladder. We've looked at the problem and the immediate defenses. Now, let's look at how businesses can actually systematically implement these defenses through structured consulting. We map the understanding of AI drift directly to actionable consulting tiers for our clients. Book 1 introduces the concept of drift, and that feeds directly into our Tier 1 compliance starter package. Book 2 establishes the high-stakes legal exposures we discussed today, positioning our Tier 2 manufacturing and launch package. And Book 3 acts as the ultimate compliance playbook, supporting our Tier 3 verification retainer. It's a complete funnel designed to take a business all the way from basic risk awareness to total operational defense.
Now, transparency is key here, which is why we very clearly define the boundary of this practice. On the coaching side, we provide guidance. We teach you to build verification-first notebooks and audit for drift. But there is a strict escalation point. We teach brands exactly when an issue crosses the line and absolutely must be escalated beyond coaching to a formal legal shield provider attorney. AI tools can summarize text all day long, but they cannot provide legal counsel. I'll leave you with a final critical question. Who is actually advising your CBD brand right now? A qualified professional or a hallucinating algorithm? If you don't know the answer to that, or if you don't have a reliable system to verify the difference, you are running totally blind in a highly regulated market. Audit your compliance workflows today before AI drift becomes your legal reality.
Such an important takeaway. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. And a huge thanks to everyone for tuning in to this explainer. We'll catch you next time.